Hi, I'm Daniel, and Cartoon Studio is an Irish independent animation studio with 5 films released across the past 14 years. Despite the studio being small and relatively new, their movies came highly reviewed and acclaimed. 4 of their movies got an Oscar nomination for Best Animated Feature, which doesn't mean much normally but shows the movie's appreciation. Until recently, I hadn't watched any of their movies. I have mainly seen mainstream animation studio films for most of my life. However, I did want to check out some of these. I watched My Father's Dragon release last November. You'll see where that ranks later. I decided to watch through the old movies last month and I think they're all at least okay. There isn't any bad, but I found many not as good. I think 2 are great or higher, and the other 3 are pretty mixed. The studio has great 2D animation, with often storybook-like beauty throughout. The visuals are always great, and there's a focus on stories or mysterious lore. It can embrace the fantasy world, with sometimes just an attempt to cover for the rest of the movie. The atmosphere is often the best part of Cartoon Saloon, but I can already see similarity between their films at this point. There is common story beats and tropes. Anyway, I'm going to rank their films like I've done for other studios. So, what are the best and worst Cartoon Saloon movies? 5. My Father's Dragon. This is not the best in Druckner's studio. It does some parts well, the animation is nice, and he likes some conflicting characters. But the movie feels too disconnected. The first 20 minutes of a poor family trying to make a restaurant but struggling. Then the movie takes a turn when the cat starts talking and sends the boy on an adventure. He goes to this island where there's meant to be a dragon, but there's also a surprise mission there. When there, the movie turns into meeting one animal after another on a half-sinking island throughout the middle. The studio has a repeated use of duos, with one magical and one used for the audience stand-in, and each time I draw bind their friendship. This movie has such drastic tone issues. This story should have yet a fun moment, but it has a sad opening and just the odd depressing parts. The lore is revealed through much exposition dump. Honestly, the dialogue of this studio is flawed. However, this movie is almost decent. When this destination doesn't work, it gets interesting. I like some of the overall themes. I like the exploration of fear and the ending conflict. The island sinking used interesting moral questions, many with the monkey characters' different views on whether saving the people or island should be the main priority. The monkey lead, whose name I can't pronounce especially, is a great character. They could have easily made him a cruel leader, but he cares about his people and he's barely even stuck in his old ways. He is very complex and compelling that carries the whole movie. My Father's Dragon is okay, and still don't deserve the Netflix marketing fate. It is their weakest movie, but honestly not too far off their next to I'll discuss. 4. The Secret of Kells. This is probably a good movie, but they have problems, with its direction and how it ends very abruptly. I feel like I didn't properly understand what I was supposed to mean, giving to a very unsatisfying feel at the ending. Even without needing to understand the movie, it can still have a good impact at the end. But not here. This plot seems to go be generic and follow a simple but fun path where it doesn't. It's got a kid escaping from overprotecting uncle on the walls to the forest. There he meets Ashley, who is a good character but I expect a lot more of her. Their friendship is really rushed and then, I think something happened I don't even know. This movie has the odd decisions and world that I just thrown in a footnote. The opening monologue sets up a theme of suffering in the world, but that never seems used. The war plot is just thrown at the end. I normally like shorter movies, but this just feels incomplete. There's parts I like. The animation is nice style, the atmosphere is good. I like how part of the story are about writing a book, and the scene where he draws a circle around the snake thing is very cool. The Secret of Kells may be good, but I'm confused by many choices made. Barely used the Yobber's great setup for just boring scenes. 3. Wolfwalkers. I think it's better than the Secret of Kells because I can follow it and it feels more full as a story. Even if the 2 main characters are just weaker versions of the Secret of Kells. This is the one I heard highest about, where it sits in the middle of the list. One thing to take from this is that Cartoon Studio perfected their style. It looks like a storybook and the lighting cinematography style contrasted amazing to look at. I like shows from the lore and the world's beauty, but I don't think it can save the rest of this story. I'm not a big fan of the characters or the lead friendship. There's a vein and that's good. He's not complex, but his movie doesn't need that. It has some good commentary on the system and oppression, but as a side to many other elements. You can tell this movie is younger than it needs to be, because it gets boring after a lot of it, and the attempts at comedy fall flat. The movie throws a standing right behind me moment in the first 10 minutes. I like how Wolfwalkers ends, but it feels a pet and overpraised to get there. It is a solid move but overrated in my opinion. I probably have the least to say about it. 2. Song of the Sea. This movie takes a while to get going with the first act focusing on a dysfunctional family that gets annoying. The middle could also be seen as a bit too set-piece yet, with meeting many different characters, but I don't mind when this movie improves as it goes along. It comes out as a beautiful movie, shown by a colours and art style here. It looks like a painting that's full of artistic choices. The theme of family is greatly shown here. Ben yearning and becoming a better brother is enjoyable to see, which will why defend the people you meet along the way. The younger sister is great for barely speaking while being a strong character. Something about the way the animation story portrays it is just so compelling. I really like the almost vein and that whole scene is great. The ending is also very powerful with the music and overall theme between family. Don't want to go into too much for this movie, just Song of the Sea is great. I have a couple problems, bits of highlights that I would recommend watching. I think this movie is solid, but really, the race for number 1 doesn't even come close in my mind. 1. The Breadwinner. This movie feels like 190 minutes. Not literally, I won't describe it as fast paced, but it is emotionally yacht and engaging. I didn't know much before, just that I had a movie and like PR disguised as a male in a oppressive society, and it's depressing. Which is certainly true. I won't define as completely dull movie, it has some almost fun characters and moments, like the interactions with a friend and working. However, it still resolves on the constant tragedy in this complex real world situation. It's interesting the backstory behind, and also the fact that it is still present in some places. Cartoons soon often go to fantasy and folklore, but the best movie is one that breaks away from that. It focuses on real seeming people in this environment, except for a story told throughout the movie. It's a bit weird how it's told by and two different characters, but I like the ending speech and has a cool style towards it. The animation is great for all details, like its colour scheme being mostly hot colours, but blue near the end. The movie starts with something happening. Even with just one scene establishing, you can feel its impact deeply. The characters aren't much, but this movie isn't character driven. I still like how this is handled, especially the older sister who can't see me in a point where it's clear there's more. And the climax, it's something that's hard to describe. So many plots are on at once, but it's edited together so beautifully. It does feel abruptly ended at first, but it needs to happen. The controversial and heavy topics couldn't be concluded here. It sends a powerful message without pushing it so hard, in a way that's truly incredible. It never feels like it didn't have a full story, an amazing one at that. The Breadwinner is a true masterpiece from Cartoon Saloon, and it deserves to be called their best movie. In conclusion, this was an interesting video to watch your movies I haven't seen before. My opinions may not be as developed as some of my other rankings due to that. Something I noticed is that the dead or missing parent angle is very common across the studio, more so than even other studios. I hope Cartoon Studio makes a different and great path in the future, and turn out more great films. Their next movie is titled Julian, and is that Alberto? I hope you enjoyed this studio ranking. If you did, consider pressing subscribe and watching more. Check my other studio rankings. The end.